When I learned they'd found the real heiress, I, the fake one, was overcome with guilt. I got her number and sent a text before we met, trying to be friendly. "Baby, I'm so sorry. I've been living in your place, enjoying a life of luxury for so many years. Baby, Mom and Dad said that from now on, I'm your family. I'm so excited, I already like you so much. Baby, don't listen to any gossip. Everyone at home loves you, especially me. I love you the mostest." The day the real heiress was due to arrive finally came. I eagerly went with my adoptive parents to welcome her. The next second, a handsome, 6'1" guy pushed open our front door. "Mom, Dad, I'm home." Hold on, how did my sweet, delicate, long-lost heiress turn into a dude? In the 20 years since I was adopted by the wealthy Miller couple, they always treated me like their own daughter. They spoiled me rotten, protecting me from every possible harm. I grew up showered in love and affection. However, on the morning of my 20th birthday, everything changed. A disaster struck. I accidentally overheard my adoptive parents whispering to each other. My adoptive mother, her usual elegance gone, had tears in her eyes and a hoarse voice. "Are you sure? Is this really our biological child?" My adoptive father couldn't hide his excitement. "The DNA test is right here. He's our son." My mother sobbed for a moment, then asked, "So, when do we bring him home?" My father patted her hand comfortingly and promised in a low voice, "Soon." "But even though we're planning on setting things up for the two kids, I'm just worried about Dora." My father trailed off, but I already understood what he meant. They had found their long-lost biological child. And they were worried that I, the adopted daughter, would treat the real heir the way wicked imposters do in novels. But how could I? I was a fraud who had taken the real heir's place, living in the lap of luxury at the Millers' expense for 20 years, while their actual child had been suffering somewhere out there. If I treated them poorly, how would I be any different from an ungrateful monster? It would be a complete betrayal of the love and care my adoptive parents had given me all these years. So that evening, I went to them and confessed. "Mom, Dad, I heard everything you said and all of your plans. Don't worry about it. I agree to everything you talked about." When I finished, my adoptive parents exchanged a stunned look. Then, surprised and delighted, they asked, "You heard? And you agree to all of it?" I nodded firmly. "Yes." My father's voice trembled slightly as he cautiously asked again, "Dora, sweetie, are you sure you don't want to think about it? This is about the rest of your life, after all." What was there to think about? The real heir coming home to their family was completely natural, wasn't it? I kept nodding. No need to think. I agree to everything. My adoptive mother, who had been standing by, finally snapped out of it. Her worried expression vanished, replaced by pure excitement. She grabbed my hand. "Oh, that's wonderful. Mom was so worried you wouldn't agree." "Oh, you sweet girl," she sobbed. "Even if you find your birth mother someday, you still have to call me Mom. Just thinking about that makes me so happy." With that, she took off the jade bracelet she was wearing and slipped it onto my wrist. "Good girl. This was passed down to me from your grandmother. Now, I'm passing it to you." Mom cherished that bracelet. She never let anyone even look at it. And now she was just giving it to me. It was clear just how much she hoped the real heir and I would get along. I stared at the translucent, shimmering bracelet on my wrist and made a silent vow. I would be incredibly good to the real heiress. Using getting to know each other as an excuse, I asked for the real heiress's contact info. My adoptive mother's loving smile was practically bursting at the seams. "Yes, yes. Get to know each other well. After all, you two will be living under the same roof from now on." I looked up the contact card for the heiress and saw that her profile picture was completely black. She didn't even have a username or a bio. I sucked in a sharp breath. I couldn't imagine it. Just how much had this poor girl suffered over the years? She was supposed to be a young woman in the prime of her life, yet she'd been forced into this dark, cold, do not disturb persona. Filled with immense guilt, I sent her a message. "Hi, Casey. I'm Dora Miller." She replied instantly. Her tone was just as cold and distant as my mother had described. "I know. They told me. Look at that." She referred to her own parents as they. It was obvious she'd suffered some kind of emotional trauma. She was keeping her guard up, even with people trying to get close to her. My heart ached for her. "Oh, baby, I'm so sorry. I've been living it up in your place all these years." "Casey, no need to apologize. You were adopted. So there's no question of you taking my place." I was taken aback. Whoever said that beautiful flowers can't grow in barren soil? This poor, tormented girl wasn't resentful at all. She was even making excuses for me. I was so moved I almost cried. "Baby, you're so sweet. Baby, from now on, I'm your family. Don't you worry, I'll take good care of you. Ah, I love you, mwah mwah, hugs and kisses." A moment later, another message popped up. "Don't call me that." "Me, what? Call you what?" This time, Casey was silent for a good 10 minutes before replying. "You know. Baby." "Me, why not? Casey, don't you think a nickname like that is moving a little fast?" I immediately shot back. "For a relationship like ours, what's not normal about me calling you baby? What's so fast about it? Baby, you'd better get used to it, because I'm going to be calling you that from now on. Like, for the rest of our lives." "Casey, actually, I'm still thinking about what they proposed. So you don't need to be in such a rush." "Thinking about what? Whether or not to come home?" It seemed she was still wary of this family and of me. I anxiously tried to reassure her. "Please don't overthink it, and definitely don't listen to any gossip. Everyone in the family loves you, especially me. I love you the mostest." After I sent those 2 messages, the typing indicator for Casey stayed on. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. A full 15 minutes passed before Casey sent a slightly skeptical reply. "Have you ever seen me?" Oh, so that's what she was worried about. I hadn't seen her, but my guilt and my desire to make it up to her, to protect her, were real. Still, to keep her from worrying, I decided to tell a little white lie. "Of course. Mom showed me a picture of you. The second I saw you, I just knew you had to be a really, really good person. You know the term love at first sight? That's how I feel about you. I swear, I genuinely like you." "Casey, you genuinely like me?" "Me, of course." "Casey, ahem. Oh. Whatever. It doesn't really affect me anyway. Okay, gotta go. I've got chicken soup simmering on the stove, gotta go turn it off. Bye." None of what he said made much sense, and I was completely confused. But I managed to catch one key piece of information. Casey had to cook for the whole family? A sudden firestorm of anger flared up inside me. I completely lost it. The next day, I ordered 18 ultra deluxe takeout meals and had them sent to Casey's current address. I also paid our family's housekeeper, Mrs. Smith, extra to go over and help Casey clean her place, and arranged for a few bodyguards to go protect her. Later, in a pile of old clothes Mrs. Smith brought back, I found a pair of men's boxer briefs. I almost laughed out of sheer anger. Making a girl like Casey wear men's jackets and pants was one thing, but even her most intimate clothing was for men? Suppressing a wave of fury, I grabbed my phone and texted Casey, "You wear boxer briefs? They make you wear boxer briefs?" Casey was silent for a long time. Then she slowly typed out a single. Casey, utterly bewildered, "What else am I supposed to wear?" This poor, clueless girl didn't even know what she was supposed to be wearing. I opened my shopping app and sent her a link to the underwear I always buy. I've bought these pink panties so many times. The quality is amazing, the waistband doesn't dig in, and they don't give you a wedgie. I'm wearing a pair right now. And for the bra. Words alone might not be enough. So I flipped my phone camera around and recorded a little demo video of the bra I was wearing. I tugged at the straps and lace trim while giving an enthusiastic explanation. See, baby? This style right here. Isn't it cute? And the fabric is super soft, not itchy at all when you wear it. The moment the video sent, a series of frantic new messages exploded in the chat. Casey was more agitated than I'd ever seen her. Dora. You. Don't send any more of that. And don't say weird things like that. You. Dora. Have some self-respect. I just laughed out loud. With our relationship, what's there to be shy about? Oh, speaking of bras, what's the situation like on your end? Size-wise? Casey, that's enough. Me, big enough? I read online that massaging them can make them bigger. I was thinking of giving it a try. He, how about I try it on you? Let me give M a rub, just let me rub M. When you get back, let me see if it makes a difference. Casey, shut up. I shook my head, sking. Why are you so stingy? What's the big deal with taking a little peek, given our relationship? Casey stopped replying completely. I waited a few minutes, then asked Mrs. Smith with some concern, Mrs. Smith, where's Casey? Mrs. Smith, she just threw her phone down, blushing like a tomato, and rushed into the bathroom to take a shower. What's wrong, Dora? Oh, nothing. I felt relieved, but also a little surprised. It's only 9 o'clock and she's already showering for bed? So healthy. I was so worried about Casey that I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. Finally, I opened my shopping app and ordered 5 or 6 pretty dresses for her in one go. A pink Hello Kitty apron for just $1 more. Might as well add it to the cart. I sent a screenshot of my order to Casey. Baby, I bought you some clothes. I hope you like them. The delivery will be there tomorrow. You can wear the clothes I bought you on the day you come home. Hee, I'm so excited. Casey started typing again, endlessly. I don't know if his keyboard was on fire or if his phone was just slow, but it took forever. Finally, a single sentence appeared, an apron? There was, in fact, an apron in the order. Me, yep. An apron. Isn't it cute? Casey, no. Impossible. Don't even think about it. Casey's refusal was incredibly blunt. I was stumped for a second, then it hit me. The poor kid had probably never worn a pretty dress before. Seeing so many beautiful clothes at once must have felt overwhelming, so her first reaction was to refuse. But to me, who had been living her life, these beautiful clothes were just the norm. I started feeling guilty all over again. And with the guilt came an even stronger resolve to be good to her. Casey baby, do you not like the colors? Are the sizes wrong? Just tell me, I'll exchange them right away. Sorry, this is my first time buying clothes for someone else, so I don't have much experience. But baby, you have to believe me, I'm being sincere. I genuinely like you, and I genuinely want to be good to you. Just tell me what you like, there's still time to change the order. You've only ever bought them for me? Casey cut me off unexpectedly, and his focus was strange. I didn't get it, but I answered honestly, yeah. The other end of the line went silent for a moment. A while later, a message came through that sounded like it had taken a huge amount of effort to type. I'll do it. Then, he quickly added another line, his tone laced with an unspeakable embarrassment. But I can only wear it on the inside. Seeing that, I burst out laughing through my tears. Okay. You agreeing to wear it is the first step to victory. Casey's reply held a trace of alarm and disbelief. That's not enough? There's a next step. Me, of course. We're just getting started. I'm going to buy you so many more styles. It was like Casey's world was collapsing. More styles? No, absolutely not. Dora, that's enough. I could never. I didn't even see what he was typing. I just poured my heart out to him. I just read in a book that love is always feeling like you owe the other person. So I always want to buy you things and spoil you rotten. I guess it's because I love you so much. You believe that I really, truly love you now, right? After sending that profound thought, I remembered he was trying to say something earlier. Oh, right, what were you trying to say? Go on. Casey, thank you for buying me clothes. I smiled. What's there to be formal about? We're family. Casey was silent for 2 seconds. Are you really that excited about becoming family with me? Me, yes. Super, super excited. I even dream about you. What about you? Are you excited to become family with me? Casey went silent again. But this time, Mrs. Smith messaged me first. Miss. Casey's face is as red as a monkey's butt. I've been here for so long, and this is the first time I've ever seen him lose his composure like this. It's really something. I was about to ask for more details when Casey finally replied. A little. He paused, then added with feigned indifference, just a little. A little that could disappear at any moment. A little that could be gone in the next second. He's so cute. I hugged my phone and did a little roll on my bed, then sent him a voice message, drawing out my words. Okay, got it, baby. Love you, mwah, kisses. After the message sent, the first person to reply wasn't Casey, but Mrs. Smith. Dora, we have a situation. Casey has a nosebleed. You can't even imagine how terrifying it is. He's just sitting there, listening to his phone with a blank expression, while blood is pouring from his nose. Right. I'll make him some loofah soup tomorrow. 3 days later, after Casey signed for the packages, he immediately took a picture and sent it to me. In the photo, a long, fair, beautifully sculpted hand was unintentionally in the frame. Casey's hands were gorgeous, probably 2 sizes bigger than mine. His nails were neatly trimmed and clean. He was definitely a good, tidy boy. The thought of him coming home, taking over the family business, and fighting it out with those difficult shareholders. Using those beautiful hands to build a safe haven for me. It filled me with an indescribable excitement. I couldn't help but message him, Casey baby, your hands are so beautiful. My future happiness depends on them. Dora, you're a girl. You can't just say things like that. You can't. I shook my head. Casey didn't know yet. Those shareholders were old, stubborn, and a real pain. Ever since they found out I was adopted, they'd completely dismissed me. I was so sick of it all. I couldn't wait for Casey to come back and take over the company. Thinking about it, I decided to just be dramatic with him. I don't care. When you get back, this is your duty. You have to fulfill your obligations. Promise me, quick. Aren't we family? Promise me. Casey, we'll see when the time comes. Me, no, you have to, please promise me. I sent 5 or 6 crying and pleading sticker emojis in a row. Casey hesitated for a while, clearly taking the emojis to be me. Finally, he gritted his teeth. Don't cry. I promise. I'll promise you, okay? I laughed out loud and used the same trick, sending him a cute voice message. I love you so much, baby, moi. According to Mrs. Smith, Casey had been on a sudden hand cream buying spree and even booked a manicure. Mrs. Smith described him with a constantly tense face, looking deadly serious as he opened various bottles and jars, then meticulously applied the contents. The image was just too bizarre to even picture. I quickly and nervously messaged him, Casey, did you hurt your hands? Mrs. Smith said you've been really focused on hand care lately. Casey, no. Me, no? Then why? Casey was hesitant. When I was starting my business, I had to visit construction sites a lot, so my hands got a little rough. I was worried that when the time comes, I might hurt Hurt you. So that's why. Afraid of hurting me? Did he mean afraid of hurting me when we hold hands? Oh my God, this kind, sweet girl was thoughtful down to the tiniest detail. If she were a guy, I'd be tempted to start some of that will they won't they step sibling drama. My heart melted into a puddle of goo. I immediately replied, sweetie, my hands are super soft and fleshy. You could never hurt me. Casey began another long typing session. You want to use your hands for me. Ahem, let's not talk about this right now. Buddy went out to walk Mrs. Smith and isn't back yet. I'm going to jump off the building to find them. Buddy was the golden retriever Casey had raised. 2 weeks flew by, and Casey and I got closer and closer. He was already used to me calling him baby. If I missed a day, he'd even get secretly sulky about it. He went out of town on a business trip last week and brought me back a gift, having Mrs. Smith deliver it. He also sent me a very meaningful message. This is the first time I've ever bought a gift for a girl. You get what that means, right? When I saw that, my eyes instantly filled with tears. I get it. Of course, I get it. Sniffle. How could I not get it? I understood immediately. He meant that he'd never had a single friend before, right? This poor, lonely girl. That evening, my adoptive parents made a point to come have a talk with me. My adoptive mother gently took my hand, her tone loving. Dora, how have you and Casey been getting along these past few days? I waved a hand dismissively and thumped my chest with confidence. Don't you worry, Mom. Casey and I are so close, we're practically inseparable. When she gets home, we could probably just share a bed. My adoptive father, who had been waiting quietly nearby, choked on his water. Pfft, cough, cough, cough. My adoptive mother shot him a glare, then turned back to me with a knowing smile. Good, good. As long as you two are getting along, Mom and Dad can rest easy. But there's no need to rush things, Dora. We still need to go through the proper procedures. Mom and Dad will make sure you aren't wronged in the slightest. Their own child was about to come home, yet they were still treating me, their adopted daughter, as well as ever. I was incredibly touched. Dad, Mom, thank you. On the day Casey was set to arrive, our whole family woke up bright and early. I put away all of our family photos, afraid that seeing them would make Casey feel left out. Then, I placed the custom welcome home cake I'd ordered for her in the most conspicuous spot in the living room, ensuring she'd see it the moment she walked in. Everything was ready. Just as the clock struck 9, the doorbell rang. My adoptive mother, holding back tears, rushed forward to open the door herself. I held my breath in anticipation, craning my neck to see. The first thing to enter my line of sight, however, was a pair of shiny, black leather dress shoes with red soles. I froze. My eyes traveled up. Impeccably tailored black suit pants encased a pair of long legs. Further up, a lean physique with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. And just like that, a tall, strikingly handsome man stepped into the living room, backlit by the morning sun. His cool gaze swept across the room, lingered on me for 5 seconds, and finally settled on my adoptive parents. Mom, Dad, I'm home. As the words fell, the smile on my face froze solid. The welcome cake in my hands slipped and hit the floor with a splat, shattering into a million pieces. WTF, why are you a dude? Seriously, can someone please tell me why my sweet, delicate, long-lost heiress turned into a guy? My adoptive mother could no longer contain her emotions and threw herself into Casey's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. My son. All these years, you've suffered so much. While they were comforting each other, I sank onto the sofa in a daze. My mind inappropriately replayed everything I had done and said to Casey over the past few days. Oh crap. My parents never actually told me if Casey was a boy or a girl. I just assumed. But if the family has a fake heiress, shouldn't the one coming back be the real heiress? What's this about a real heir? Why don't the Millers follow the standard tropes? I shivered, my hands trembling as I pulled out my phone to look at my chat history with Casey. The first thing that hit me was the fact that I had shamelessly called him baby every single day. Then there were all the flirty, cutesy messages I'd sent him. I even sent him a video of my bra on the very first day we met. My vision went black, then black again. The further I scrolled back, the harder it was to breathe. Some of those things were totally fine between two girls. But with the other person being a guy, I suddenly looked like a thirsty, shameless, super pervert. When I finally reached the hand care conversation, I squeezed my eyes shut. I barely had the courage to read it. Hey, author, you there? Can you put me in a different book, please? Thanks. Haha, everyone, no need to buy real estate anymore, because my toes have already carved out a 100-story skyscraper from the floor out of pure cringe. Well, I guess this planet can't contain my shame anymore. Time to turn into a gremlin and just fly off into space, I guess. I put my phone away and tried to make myself as small as possible, silently praying that the family would be so happy with their reunion that they'd forget all about me. Then I could find a chance to sneak out. Unfortunately, my worst fears came true. My adoptive mother wiped her tears, took Casey by the hand, and walked over to me. Son, come. This is Dora. The one I told you about. Casey looked over, his deep gaze landing calmly on my face, as if he could see right through me. I had nowhere to run. A desperate wail echoed in my mind as I managed to squeak out, "Hi, Casey. You're back." Casey's eyes never left mine. At my words, a little spark ignited in their depths. My mother glanced at me, surprised. "Dora, didn't you say you and Casey were so close you could just share a bed? What's wrong?" Why would you say that out loud?" I took 2 steps forward to try and stop her, but that just brought me closer to Casey, whose gaze had shifted from calm as still water to shy and bashful. Trapped, I was so embarrassed my hair felt like it was standing on end. I let out a shriek, dodged around Casey, and bolted upstairs. "Mom, Dad, my head suddenly hurts a little. I'm going to go lie down. You guys go ahead and eat without me." I ran so fast I didn't even notice the look on Casey's face behind me. He slowly lowered his gaze, discreetly sniffing the air. The tips of his ears turned a subtle shade of red, and a satisfied smile touched his lips. Like a cat that had just gotten the cream. I rushed back to my room, feeling more and more mortified the more I thought about it. The shame eventually curdled into frustrated anger, and I started punching my pillow. How could he be a guy? How did he turn into a guy? Sob. He's a liar. And I'm an idiot. Just as my wailing subsided, there was a knock on my door. Casey's voice was low and surprisingly pleasant. Mom and Dad sent me to get you for dinner." I stood up instinctively, but I moved too fast and tripped hard on the rug. I screamed as my body pitched forward, losing balance. Casey heard me from outside the door and burst in with a bang. The world spun. And I fell squarely into a warm embrace that smelled faintly of crisp tea. Casey caught me easily with just one arm. My hands flailed, trying to grab onto something, but they had a mind of their own. With a sharp tug and a soft rip, the buttons on Casey's neat white shirt popped open, leaving the front gaping. And then, I froze. Underneath the opened shirt was a pink Hello Kitty apron. The $1 apron I'd added to my cart. It was currently tied snugly across his broad, muscular chest, creating a ridiculous contrast with his rather stern demeanor. Wearing a little pink apron under such a serious suit, what kind of fashion statement was that? I looked up in shock, just in time to see Casey's beet red ears and the flustered way he turned his face away. His Adam's apple bobbed. I promised you," he explained in a low voice, a hint of bashfulness he couldn't hide. I stared at him for a second, then realized he had misunderstood my intentions. But even though he misunderstood, he still did it, just because he had promised me. Looking at this man with his red ears and obedient tone, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Casey, let me explain. Actually, Dora, wait, don't move. He cut me off urgently. His warm hand rested on my waist with restraint. His voice trembled, his breath hot. Just like this. For a little while. Don't move. I stiffened, keenly aware of the change in his body. My face turned completely red, and I was so nervous I barely dared to breathe. A very, very long time passed. So long that I was about to fall asleep against his chest. Finally, Casey spoke, his voice hoarse. Okay, Dora. You can get up now. I snapped awake, rubbed my eyes, and pushed myself off him. Casey sat up. His shirt was a mess from where I'd grabbed it, revealing his toned, well-defined abs. I swallowed hard, forced my eyes away, and bowed my head in shame. Casey, I'm so sorry. In the beginning, I thought you were a girl, which is why I was so shameless with the things I said. I honestly didn't know you were a guy. If I had, I would have been completely proper and respectful. I never would have acted like that. You get what I mean, right? Casey's fingers froze on a button. He looked up at me, his expression growing serious. Those things. What things, exactly? That you like me? That you love me? That you want to be family with me? Or that you want me to use my hands to help you take care of? Why was this boy saying all this out loud? My face flushed bright red as I clapped a hand over his mouth. All of it. I know some of those things have some pretty strong suggestive undertones. But if you think about it as a conversation between two girls, it's totally normal, right? So. Casey's lips pressed into a thin line. The light in his eyes dimmed, and even his shoulders slumped. So, when you said you loved me, liked me, that you'd only ever bought clothes for me, that you wanted to be family with me, that was all just stuff you would say to a girl, not to me? It didn't have any special meaning? I braced myself and nodded emphatically. The air grew thick. I could hear the sharp click as Casey's knuckles tightened. Oh no, it's over. Mom told me that Casey had a hard life growing up. He was abandoned, deceived, and disliked. At his lowest point, he ate nothing but plain steamed buns soaked in water for 2 months straight. It was only after graduating from college and working day and night that his life started to get a little better. That was why I wanted so badly to make it up to him. But I never expected this whole series of misunderstandings. I sighed in resignation. I'm sorry. I know you must feel like you've been played right now, and you're probably really pissed off. Anyway, I'm truly sorry. I'll find a way to make it up to you. As for all that stuff I said, just pretend I never said it. At that, the memory of those explicit chat logs came flooding back, and I couldn't bear to stay there a second longer. I shot up and ran out of the room. While everyone was in the kitchen preparing the welcome dinner, I quietly slipped out the side door. Thinking of how the Millers had cared for me for 20 years, and how I'd managed to ruin everything on the very first day their real son came home. My eyes started to sting. I wandered aimlessly out of the Miller's gate and ran right into my neighbor, who was pulling his car out of his driveway. Seeing me alone by the side of the road, he stopped with concern. Dora? What are you doing out here by yourself? I forced a smile. Oh, my mom sent me to buy some soy sauce. My neighbor smiled slightly, considerate enough not to press further. Hop in. I'll give you a lift. I knew it was hard to get a cab in this area, so after a moment's hesitation, I didn't refuse and got in the car. But behind us, where neither of us noticed, Casey was standing on the balcony, quietly watching the whole scene. He stared at the car as it slowly drove away, his eyes darkening as he silently clenched his fists. I sat in a coffee shop until it got dark. The whole time, my adoptive parents kept calling me. I just told them something urgent came up at work and that I'd have a proper talk with Casey tomorrow. Sigh. I glanced at my watch. It was already 10 o'clock. They were probably asleep by now. So I tiptoed back home. Before I could even take my shoes off, the living room lights suddenly flickered on. I instinctively raised a hand to shield my eyes. Through my fingers, I could see Casey standing on the stairs just a few feet away. He had changed out of his suit and was now wearing the gray loungewear my mother had gotten for him. He looked gentle and soft, none of the cold seriousness from earlier. I squeezed my eyes shut guiltily, trying to pretend I hadn't seen anything as I crept along the wall. I had only taken 2 steps when a deeply mournful sigh came from behind me. Maybe I shouldn't have come back. I stopped in my tracks. Thinking of how happy my adoptive parents had been these past few days, I reflexively turned to argue. Of course not. Casey, why would you think that? Mom and Dad have been waiting for this day for so long. My words died in my throat. Casey's eyes were slightly downcast, his long lashes casting a small shadow beneath them. His light-colored eyes were misty, the rims slightly red, and his lips were pressed into a tight line. He looked at me, hurt but defiant. Really? I was speechless. Who gets it? Who understands the sheer power of a stone-faced hottie talking like a sad puppy? My little heart was about to pound out of my chest. Casey, completely unaware that he was currently channeling the spirit of a male fox demon, continued his quiet accusation. But before I came back, you called me baby every day. You said you liked me best, that you loved me. But now? Liar. It felt like something had squeezed my heart tight. I rushed to explain, no. I already explained to you, that was because I get it. He cut me off, his voice weak. Forget it. I know. I've never been very likable, so it's only right that you'd be like this. I really thought you liked me. Turns out you're all the same. Nobody in this world likes me. Nobody ever has. I should just go. Nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I'm gonna go eat worms. He looked like he was about to shatter into a million pieces. I was sweating with anxiety. I rushed forward and grabbed his hand. Baby, I really do like you. Don't think such crazy things. I just haven't figured out how to face you yet. Please believe me. Casey blinked. He silently flipped his hand over, lacing his fingers with mine. He frowned and asked, "Are you telling the truth?" I was completely oblivious to his little move. I nodded frantically. Yes. Of course, it's true. So you won't avoid me anymore? I said with conviction, I won't. You'll keep liking me? I will. You'll keep loving me? I will. You'll still be my family? I will. You'll let me use my hands? I will. The word left my mouth before I realized what he had just said. My face instantly exploded in a blush. I was about to take it back, but Casey just pursed his lips and finally relented. Okay. I believe you. He paused, his gaze focused and deep, enunciating every word with perfect clarity. Because you're Dora, I'm willing to trust you one more time. I was stunned. My traitorous heart skipped a beat, and I completely forgot I was about to object. Why is your hair still wet? Do you not know how to blow dry it? Come on, I'll do it for you. Okay. Casey let me pull him upstairs. The moment he turned, he glanced at a laptop sitting on the sofa. A silent, triumphant smile spread across his face. That's right. On the title page of the open notebook was a single, neatly written sentence. A woman's sympathy and pity are enough for a man to secure a place by her side. Yep. The internet never lies. He'd be using this trick again. Over the next month, I discovered that Casey was truly a gentle, mature, understanding, and helpful person who was great at solving my problems. Most importantly, his eyes could talk. Whenever his bright, beautiful eyes were fixed on me, I forgot about any questions I had. For example, I was in a hurry to get out yesterday and caught another ride with my neighbor. The very next evening, my neighbor's wails echoed through the entire neighborhood, his voice cracking from crying. Who slashed my tires? Do you have any idea how expensive these are? You monster. Why would you slash my tires? I froze for a second, then looked at Casey with a strange premonition. Casey. Casey placed a peeled, hard-boiled egg into my bowl, then glanced up at me with an innocent look. My breath hitched. Thinking of all the times my heart had raced because of Casey lately, my face grew hot. Oh, Mom, Dad, your daughter is a disgrace. I really want to date your son now. But then again. I glanced at my neighbor, sobbing his heart out by the window, then back at the calm and steady Casey. I came to a firm conclusion. I must be crazy. How could I possibly suspect Casey? Anyone but Casey. He would never do something like that. I trust him. I picked up the egg, then remembered my parents were still there. Sure enough, I looked up and met their eyes. My adoptive mother was very pleased. Since you two are getting along so well, we should move forward with the engagement. Next week, when we officially announce Casey's return, we can announce your engagement at the same time. As the words left her mouth, the egg on my chopsticks fell and splattered on the table. Hold on. What engagement? What was I not aware of? I looked at Casey in shock. Casey continued to eat his porridge calmly, showing no surprise whatsoever. He clearly already knew about this. I swallowed hard. Dad, Mom, what engagement? My adoptive father was confused. Huh? Dora, didn't you say you already knew? You even said you agreed to everything. Have you forgotten? I racked my brain. Then I slapped my forehead. It was all my fault for only hearing half the conversation and jumping in to agree so quickly. That's what led to this mess. I gathered my courage. Mom, Dad, about this engagement, I'm full. Casey abruptly stood up. Without even a glance at me, he turned and walked upstairs. Watching his stiff back disappear around the landing, my heart suddenly felt empty. I instinctively put down my chopsticks and followed him. I got to Casey's door but hesitated, not understanding why I had followed him here on impulse. I sighed and was about to turn and leave when a loud crash came from inside the room. I jumped, threw the door open, and rushed in. Casey, what happened? The lights were off in his room, and the curtains were drawn. It was pitch black. I fumbled my way inside, asking quietly, Casey, did you fall? Casey sounded like he was in a lot of pain. Yeah. I was changing, and the power suddenly went out, so I fell. How bad is it? Are you bleeding? Let me see. I followed the sound of his voice and felt my way down from his face, trying to find his injured leg. Instead, my hand grabbed onto something with a very unfamiliar texture. I paused for 2 seconds, then curiously gave it a squeeze. NGH. A muffled groan that sounded somewhere between pain and pleasure came from above my head. Dora, don't. Just then, the overhead light flickered on. I could see exactly what I was holding. I let out a high-pitched, ear-splitting shriek. Aya, save me. What is this ungodly thing? I fled back to my room in a panic. A long time passed before the burning heat in my cheeks began to fade. I had just put my hand on the doorknob to stand up when Casey's voice came from outside again. Dora, Mom made us some fruit. She wants us to come downstairs. My heart leaped. I cleared my throat, trying to sound calm. Okay, got it. You go on ahead. There was a moment of silence from outside the door. I held my breath, waiting until his footsteps had completely disappeared down the stairs before carefully turning the lock. The instant the door cracked open, a large hand with well-defined knuckles shot out from the side and grabbed my wrist. I didn't even have time to cry out before I was pushed back into the room. My back hit the door, and Casey's hot body pressed against me from the front. He blocked the light. I tilted my head up and saw the dark, swirling emotions in his eyes. Casey, I didn't mean to just now, you. Before I could finish, Casey's lips crashed down on mine. At first, it was just a light touch. Then, his tongue slipped past my lips. The moment our tongues touched, a jolt went through me, and my hands crumpled the fabric of his shirt. The minutes ticked by. My mind grew hazy. All I could hear were our ragged breaths and our racing, frantic heartbeats. And Casey's whisper, "I like you so much, baby." The day we announced Casey's return to the family and our engagement also happened to be his birthday. After dealing with all the guests who had come to offer their congratulations, I pulled Casey into a quiet corner to blow out his candles, managing to snag a wish for myself. Casey poked my cheek. "What did you wish for? Can I know?" I shot him a glare. "It won't come true if I say it out loud." Casey thought for a second. "It won't come true if you don't say it out loud, because then I won't know." I huffed. "Fine, fine." I clasped my hands together again and whispered, "My wish is to be able to sleep in every single day." After making my wish, I turned to Casey. "What about you? Casey, what's your wish?" Casey looked at me, completely serious. "To become in." Huh. My brain stalled for 2 seconds. Then I realized what he meant and let out an ear-splitting shriek. "Casey, you pervert.